Test 1, 2. Good afternoon. Today we're celebrating Memorial Day. And we have two members who have people graduating from the Air Force Academy. Dave Thorson's daughter is graduating. And Bill Steeran's second grandson is graduating from the Air Force Academy. And I would ask all the veterans to stand up in the room, but we wouldn't notice because you're already standing. I'd like Bob Pizer to do the invocation this afternoon.
Almighty God, Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us together at this Memorial Day celebration to acknowledge the debt we owe to the men and women of the United States military who have guarded this great country with their lives. We especially honor those who lost their lives while defending this great nation. They fought on land, at sea, and in the air, always understanding that they may not come back from the mission and accepting this as part of the job. They were willing to risk death to protect the land we hold so dear and the American people along with it. We thank them for their sacrifice and promise we will carry on their legacy to ensure they did not die in vain. Father, we pray that you strengthen and protect all our military personnel who are serving presently and in the future. Give them the courage to face whatever comes, protect them in battle, and help them prosper in times of peace. Watch over their families, Lord, as you watch over us as well. We put our trust and faith in you, and even though we don't always understand your ways, we accept that you have a plan for each and every one of us. Please help us fulfill our personal missions, whatever they may be. Amen.
Thanks, Bob. Our song leader is Renee Gamero and his son.
Hello, thank you. Yeah, that's fine. No, so when I was finally able to convince Brandon, who's taken choir now for 3 years and very musical, if he could come to our meeting and sing God Bless America, he said, yes, on one condition, if you sang with me, and I think if you guys can help as well, that would be wonderful. So, Brandon, whenever you're starting, we'll follow you. No, I'll start. We'll start together. Okay, start. 1, 2, 3. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountain to the prairie, to the ocean, white with foam. God bless America, my home to home. God bless America, my home to home.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Renee. Greg McGuire is going to do our pledge today.
Thank you, President Katie. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance.
Thank you, Greg. Our Sergeant at Arms today is John Pally.
I'm on next.
All right, I'm going to do the introductions first. Well, we're going to do some introductions. Do we have any international visitors today? No international. Do we have visiting Rotarians today? I believe we do. Um, do you want mine?
Okay, now we're going over. Ooh, that's good. All right. We'll wait for everyone when you guys are done. All right, here we are, right over here.
I'd like to make an introduction. Chris Darnold is with Las Vegas One Rotary here in the Las Vegas Valley, and she's coming to visit us today. So welcome.
Rotarians. Any other visiting Rotarians? Yes, sub-Rotarians.
Well, as you've already met, I have Brandon, my 14-year-old boy here today. Last couple of years has gotten straight A's. He's been to TLC last year, been to our Alpine picnic and several other events, and just so happy that he let me drag him here today. So also joining us here at the table today as a guest of the club is Simran. Simran is visiting today and trying to see what the best Rotary Club in the universe is all about.
Try it again.
There we go. I don't know.
This is my son, Dylan. Yeah. All right, Dylan.
What?
What? No.
Okay, this one works.
Hey, that sounds good.
Test, one. Hello, test.
Anyone else have introductions?
We have a visitor. We have a visitor today, Simran. You'll see
Oh, if you were paying attention, it actually was introduced. All right. right, nice. Welcome.
Test. Test. Test.
Yeah.
Ini na ya.
Let's take a few minutes for fellowship since everybody's talking anyway. Somebody heard me. Hello, now it's working. I'm going to try and. I was going to try and introduce, if I hold the two of them together, they. I'd like to introduce the head table. Colonel Amy Klima is our speaker today, and she'll be more fully introduced in a few minutes. Our program chairman, Greg McGuire, who's looking at the door longingly. And Chief Sergeant Master, Command Sergeant Master, I'm sorry, Zell Johnson, Bob Kaiser, and Past President Dave Thorson. Help me welcome the head table. Thank you. Take a picture of my double microphone. Greg, it's all yours.
It works. Okay, we got McGuire over here. Okay, well, I wanted to take a minute to remember Memorial Day that as Bob so well eloquently talked about in his prayer, the people that are not here today. But before I do that, I do want to ask all the veterans that are here, if served or have served in the past, please stand and be recognized. Very good. I've talked about this in the past where it's the amount of people serving today is much less than it has been in the past. So each and every one that has served, is serving is super important. So on Memorial Day, if you know, but I was out sailing in the Caribbean for the last 10 days, keeping my Navy tradition live. But as I was thinking about what we could talk about today, I across an article in the Wall Street Journal about a Navy SEAL, Daniel Swift, Navy Special Warfare Officer, first class. And he was recently killed in Ukraine fighting over there for the Ukrainians. So why is that important? You know, we spent about 20 years in recent memory fighting wars overseas in Iraq and Afghanistan. And you have to understand that the kids and the people that we sent over there, that had a massive effect on them and their ability to assimilate back into society. And I think that's probably going to be the cost of the war more than anything, because our medical was so much better this time than it has been in the past, that so many more survived. But Daniel Swift, he went home, got out of the Navy after Afghanistan, after multiple tours there, after winning multiple awards, and he became a police officer in Oregon. He had 4 children, beautiful children, but he wasn't quite there mentally for where he needed to be. And he became a police officer up there. And the bottom line is Ukraine started back up, and he just felt the need to go back into the SEALs and go back to fighting. And of course, we don't have people on the ground over there. Daniel Swift went AWOL, and he went over to Ukraine. And for he was there basically a week after the Ukrainian Russians invaded Ukraine, and he was killed in January. Why do I bring this up? he was a SEAL like we needed SEALs, but because of the impact that all these wars had on him personally, he felt the need to go over there. My point is that not every single person that we Memorial Day is a clean story about how they served and how they and where they died. And it's really, really important that we remember Daniel Swift as an American that contributed to his country and died fighting a war for a different country, but he still served his country when we needed him. And, you know, that story just really resonated with me because I know that there's a lot of other sailors, soldiers, airmen, Marines, Coast Guard that are struggling after their time in the service. So when you meet those people on the street, just keep them in your prayers, keep them in mind, and we'll remember Daniel Swift today too. So with that, Stu, you have a video we're going to play for Memorial Day? Yeah, we're going to do that after. Freeze it. Oh.
The sight before us is that of a strong and good nation that stands in silence and remembers those who were loved and who in return loved their countrymen enough to die for them. Yet we must try to honor them, not for their sakes alone, but for our own. And if words cannot repay the debt we owe these men, surely with our actions, we must strive to keep faith with them and with a vision that led them to battle and a final sacrifice. Our first obligation to them and ourselves is plain enough. The United States and the freedom for which it stands, the freedom which they died, must endure and prosper. Their lives remind us that freedom is not bought cheaply. It has a cost. The willingness of some to give their lives so that others might live never fails to evoke in us a sense of wonder and mystery, and how they must have wished, in all the ugliness that war brings, that no other generation of young men to follow would have to undergo that same experience. As we honor their memory today, let us pledge that their lives, their sacrifices, their valor shall be justified and remembered for as long as God gives life to this nation. And let us also pledge to do our utmost to carry out what must have been their wish, that no other generation of young men will ever have to share their experiences and repeat their sacrifice.
And, you know, in this room, there, I'm sure there's families, there's daughters, spouses that had someone serving in the military, that this Memorial Day, they remembered them also. So with that, Steve, if you'd come up, please, and read the missing man.
Thank you, Greg. I'd like to direct your attention up front to the empty table with a chair for one. This is known as the missing man table, also the fallen comrade table. It's a ceremony and memorial that's set up at military dining facilities in the United States and serves as a focal point for ceremonial remembrance. Originally grew out of concern for Vietnam War POWs and MIAs. This is a small table set for one, symbolizing the isolation of the absent service member. It bears a white tablecloth that symbolizes the pure intentions of the service member to respond to the country's call to arms. A single rose in a vase symbolizes the blood that service members have shed in sacrifice to ensure freedom of the United States of America. The red ribbon represents a love of country that inspired service members to serve the country. A slice of lemon on the bread plate represents the bitter fate of the missing. Salt sprinkled on the bread plate symbolizes the tears shed by waiting families. An inverted glass represents the fact that the missing and fallen cannot partake. A lit candle symbolizes the light of hope that lives in the hearts to illuminate the missing way home. And an empty chair represents the absence of the service member. Take a moment, if you can, when you're finished with your meal after the program is over, to take a look at the table and pay your respects. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Okay, we have a few announcements today. Kirk Alexander. We have, if I hold them together, they work.
Kurt.
Working? This one work? So what? Oh, so if you use both of them, on the 10th of June, the District 5300 is going to build and do full construction from the foundation up in one day, build a house for a very needy family in Tecate, Mexico. There are 3 kids that are members of the family that we're building for this year, and they all will participate one way or another in the build of that house. At the end of the day, we have a key ceremony where we give the family the keys to the front door of the house that we built that day. And when kids are involved, it's really special because we usually pick one of those kids that was building a house, that's a volunteer, to give the kids of that family the key to the new house. So June 10th, we're meeting in Chula Vista, 5:30 a.m. that Saturday morning, and we will caravan into the construction site and be done and out of there by about 4:30, 5 o'clock that evening. Hope you can make it. Thanks.
This highway cleanup?
Sorry, highway cleanup here once again. We're always going to meet at the same place. Breakfast for at my house afterwards. Everybody always has a great time. So it's June 10th, 8 o'clock. See you all there. Thank you.
Who is it? Oh, Brian. Brian Riley. Woo! I am
Tony actually called me yesterday and actually asked me to run a few details by you as far as our fundraiser. Overall, I think it was quite successful. Obviously, this was the first year of doing so. You know, so of the 3-week process that we had, the first week, basically, we had no traction whatsoever, pretty much. I think it was a little bit of a tech savvy and a little bit of a learning curve. So next year, we hope we will be able to do significantly better. But of some of the numbers that we had originally worked on, basically, we had 132 members that we were hoping would participate. Each member was given a goal of about $800, and they were divided into 9 teams. In total, we ended up raising $46,000, which I think we should be pretty proud of. Of that, basically every one of the teams, did something in some way, ranging from about $14,700 all the way down to $1,400 for one of the teams. The top 2 teams raised 60% of the entire revenue, so that was pretty good. We ended up with 187 donors who were not Rotarians. That is a pretty big deal. 16 Rotarians donated on top. Let's see, we had, what did we have here? We had 6 people. Actually, we had 15 people that raised over $500. We had 11 that raised over 1,000, 6 that raised over 2, and 4 that raised over $5,000. So that was a pretty big deal. Brian Sorrentino and Tony were the 2 big, fundraisers. So, always generous Tom Thomas, he was involved in that. So that was great. But anyway, the last statement that I want to make. So overall, it was a big success. But me personally, I am going to have to give this a pretty strong F, actually, because we had only 27% of our members participated in any way. That's pretty low. So what is it, 60% below F? So we missed the mark a little bit. So if we could get that up next year to bare minimum of a C, which is 60% roughly, which is what I averaged throughout my academic career, then we should be doing okay. But we cannot complain about $48,000 or $46,000, whatever it is. So everybody should be really happy with that performance, and especially thank Brian, Sorrentino, Tony, and Susan, who really, really led the way. She was great. So anyway, let's see if we can up our game next year.
All right, and now we'll put up the slide. The team that raised 0 will put their slide. Just kidding, don't worry. Deb, right. Deb, tell us.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. I simply wanted to remind everyone that we have a 25 Club Social coming up next Thursday, June 1. It is going to be at Suzette Wheeler's home. Thank you for sharing your home with all of us, Suzette. There is an issue of the guard-gated community, so we do need to know up front who's all coming so we can make arrangements at the gate, as well as it's a potluck. So I'm going to be bringing a big roaster of some Italian beef. If everyone can bring something to join in on that. We keep getting a few more people every time. We would like to get a whole room full of people. We would love to see all of you there. And we hope to have you join us. Thank you. Thank you, John.
Bill, he's always real subtle and quiet. Where is he? You got something? Can you speak to the group? Okay.
I don't know. Fellow Rotarians, how do you do? I got the honor this year that you're coming up to your president of your foundation. And I got asked to stand and promote a little bit today. So I'm asking for a few dollars more, just a few dollars more. On your table, you have the form for your pledge for this coming year. There's basically 4 things you can contribute to, pledge, and make a donation on a monthly basis. The first 2 go directly to the Las Vegas Rotary Club Foundation. The foundation has 2 categories. We have the annual spending. What you give to that is what we're going to spend next year. The second category is the endowment fund. The endowment fund was started in 1998. And I kind of view this as a little fruit tree. Think of a little tree, one little on 1998. Because the contributions since then, it is now around $3 million because of your contributions and the growth of the equity fund. Because of that, this coming year, we were able to designate $84,000 to the youth programs that this club supports. So a few dollars more, not a fistful, just a few dollars more, okay? So you got the form on your table. It's due today. Sean has bugged me year after year after year to get it in on time. I did it this year. I got it in. And with a few dollars more. Thank you.
Mike Fowler. Okay, what are we talking about? Debunking? Oh, that's good. We got June 29th at Mike's house, 6 o'clock. Planning meeting next week, I believe after our meeting.
Could I call on couple of things? We just finished our beach cleanup last Saturday. 30 people were there. A lot of trash and a lot of fun. Boating, jet ski, and of course, Ross and Swain, awesome boat. So everybody had fun. So we're gonna do it again next year as a part of our annual program. And then I'm gonna go to, we have a couple of Paul Harris presentations today. Could I call on Jerry Sanders, please, and Greg McGuire? So the presentation of the Paul Harris Fellow recognition is the Rotary Foundation's way of expressing appreciation for the substantial contribution to its humanitarian and educational programs. It is named for our founder, Paul Harris, and we move closer world of peace and goodwill today as both Jerry and Greg becomes Paul Harris Fellow +1. They have contributed to the Rotary Foundation's educational and humanitarian programs as a commitment to peace and a better life for people across the world whom they may never meet. So this is truly a selfish action. It gives me great pleasure to Greg and to present the emblems of the Paul Harris. They're gonna get their Paul Harris +1 pins. Congratulations, Jerry.
Mike.
I think thank you. John.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and ask Greg to introduce our speaker today. Oh, we'll do the drawing. Okay. The ticket, the tax today is $2,046 plus whatever was contributed last week, whatever was contributed today. The ticket to draw for the Joker is 6318177. 177. Okay.
You're probably not wrong.
You got your money back last time. And the ticket for $50 in Lowry bucks is 6318169. I see a hand, Karen. Congratulations. Thank you. Okay, Greg. Now you can introduce the speaker.
All right, thank you, President Katie. Our honor to have two members of the United States Army National Guard here with us today. And Colonel Klima said, please don't read my bio. And this is because this is probably about half of the bio. And, you know, most of the stuff that we write in military bios is probably true. I can't say all of it's always true, but, you know, I certainly embellished mine a little bit when I was there. But we're honored to have Colonel Klima and Command Sergeant Major Zell Johnson with us. They're going to hear from the Nevada National Guard. I don't think we've had the Nevada National Guard here in my time anyway, in the last 5-6 years. So it was an awesome opportunity to have you both join us here today. And with that, they're going to talk a little bit about what the Guard is, and please be ready with questions. And with that, Colonel Klima, Command Sergeant Major.
So I don't really, can you hear me if I don't use the microphone? Yeah, okay. And to ask because it's difficult. So one thing we talk about the bio, my bio does say I'm 5'5", so there. So I won't stand behind the podium. I do that all the time because people can't see me if I stand behind it. One thing I do want to get out of the way is I really wanted to wear my Knights jersey over my uniform. So go Knights. I have to say that. So go Knights. So today, Sergeant Major and I, first of all, our veterans that are here, how many of you are enlisted? We're enlisted. And how many were officers? Oh, it's even. Ooh, thank goodness. Okay. So I've learned in my 30 years of experience in the military, I'm never the smartest person in the room. And I go nowhere without a sergeant major or a warrant officer. I just don't. And so I asked our Major Johnson to be here because he is probably the subject matter expert. So we'll kind of tag team this. We don't really prepare speeches. I do have some information specifically just about the Guard that we wanted to make sure you knew about our organization. So we'll get through those statistics and numbers and kind of what we do. And then we're going to talk about the mission the Sergeant Major are on with our leadership staff, General Barry and General Armstrong, who couldn't be here today. What we're doing right now in the Nevada Guard that's unique to every other Guard organization in the country. And I would say General Barry would agree, General Armstrong would agree, Nevada, put us up against any state in the nation. We have the best soldiers and airmen in our organization, hands down. So I can't even say that I'm biased, but we do. We work with that. I lost the mic. There we go. Okay. So we'll start it just with a little bit of just geographics, numbers, what our organization facilities across the state. Obviously, Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, South Las Vegas. Down here, we have 4 armories that are located here that our soldiers work out of. Total force of the Nevada Guard is Army and Air. We do have the Air Guard. They're primarily, so they are the airport in Reno. If you've landed in Reno, if you've paid attention when you landed, you can look off to the right, and that's where our 152nd Air Wing is located. Our C-130s are there. So that is our Nevada Guard Air Wing. There's about 1,700 airmen up there. About 150 of them live in Las Vegas and travel up there. We do also have an air component, guard component down here, the 232nd that work out at Nellis. So we're, the Army is bigger and we're better. So I just put it out there because none of us to say any different. We have about 2,500 soldiers in Nevada. The Rester North Nevada, our headquarters is in Carson City. That's where the command staff is located, is in Carson City, obviously with the capital. And then we do also have units up in Reno. Have an armory out in Fallon, and we have a facility out in Winnemucca. I think we've recently gotten rid of that. So a few things I've already talked too much about them because we don't have to talk about them. A few, and I say that, love our Air Guard brothers. This is really are actually they're a great group of people to work with. So some of the assets that you have in us is a Nevada Guard Association. We have aviation assets. We have our Chinooks. We have our Codas down here. The Chinooks are located up north. We have a signal battalion. We are part of the cybersecurity team in the state. We have multiple transportation units, a water purification unit, maintenance units, EOD, which is explosive, military police companies, engineers, firefighters, intel, and then Sergeant Major's favorite, combat arms, our SCAV squadron that he is the CSM of for our CAV squadron. So I think someone had asked earlier about mobilizations. Right now, and this isn't classified, we can share this because it gets out released on social media sometimes before we even find out. Right now, we don't have any mobs going out the door that we have forecasted for this next year. We did just have a unit come home. Our 137th Military Police Company just came home. They're located in Northern Nevada. We do have quite a few soldiers from the Nevada Guard that are augmenting the California 40th ID mission that they're deploying here in the next month. That are going with them. But right now, as far as mobilizations out of the country, none are forecasted for us at this time. But what we do bring to this, I'm sure during COVID, many of you saw at the testing sites, homes, cleaning nursing homes, administering vaccines. The state during our COVID operations, at one point we had probably about 11 to 1,200 soldiers on orders during that mission. And I'll let Sergeant Major and what? Yeah, and then for delivering, also let Sergeant Major talk a little bit about, because he was involved in the January 6th. He was out at the Capitol with the CAV squadron. They were called out for doing that. So let him talk a little bit about that. But the point is, our soldiers and airmen live in your neighborhoods. We're a part of you. And so we take this very seriously, because what I think, actually, and we didn't talk before this, Greg teed this up perfectly for us, is what we're looking at right now, what our concern is right now is readiness. And this is what Sergeant Major and I talk about all the time. Currently, we're the command team for what's called our J9 Warrior Wellness and Support Service Directorate. So everything from our chaplains, military family programs, military funeral honors, all of the support services fall under our directorate. Stood this directorate up 2 years ago when he in the organization, and the response to the suicide from senior leadership at that time, he was appalled. They were just basically like, well, yeah, this happened. It's just part of doing business. And he's like, absolutely not. This is not how this organization. That they're not all the states have figured out yet. There we go. Not all the states have established one yet. They are working on it. So really, we exist to support the soldiers, the airmen, and their, because exactly what Greg said. We have yet to see, I think, the true ramifications of 20 years of years of multiple tours, 20 years of family members have to spouses, kids, whatnot. We have yet to see that, and then throw on top of that the COVID pandemic, and then throw on top of that the civil unrest that we get involved in. So that is why our J9 Warrior Wellness and Support Services Directorate was established. So we can talk. I mean, if you have specific questions about the structure, the makeup of our organization, I'm happy to take those questions. But I think really what's more near and dear to our heart, because again, I say our soldiers and airmen live in your neighborhoods. They're part of our community. They're your family members, and we take that very seriously because we only see 2 days out of the month. So 2 weeks, sometimes 2 weeks or more in the summer. And so it is our mission in the D9 to ensure soldiers and airmen and their family members are well, because we only get them 2 days out of the month. We need them to be well the other 28 days out of the year when we don't have them. Because if we have a good mother, a father, sister, brother, when they come and see us, they're going to be a great soldier and airman. So that is why the J9 Directorate exists and how we are supporting them with some of our programs that we're. So I appreciate saying that, which caused me to write down a few notes when he mentioned that, because really I'm just, as I sit here, as I watch community and community here, this energy in the room is what we hope for in our organization. A place where we talk organization about enriched versus impoverished environments. And a lot of our soldiers, because we don't see them every day, come from very impoverished environments. So sometimes the best meal there is when they come to drill on drill weekend. Some of our soldiers we can go are living in cars. So when they come to drill, we ensure that they are coming to an enriched environment, and we can only strive to have this level of a community in our organization. We have units that feel like welcoming, comforting, and inclusive. And that's what we strive for in this organization. Actually, Steve's phone. Steve. Oh, yeah, worries. I think maybe this one might just be working. Maybe one. If not, I just jinxed myself. Okay, so I want to talk about what we really want to, our directorate, and how what we're doing, initiatives that we've stood up, and how we're supporting our organization. Because we talk to readiness all the time, and I think as a whole, the civilian population thinks about readiness of the military like, you know, physically fit, ready, our equipment's ready to go. Do you know how to fire your weapon? Do you do all these things? But none of that matters if our soldiers and airmen and their family members aren't ready. None of that matters. They can't go to the range. They can't take their tanks out. They can't work on the equipment. None of it matters if they are not holistically ready as a person and their family members aren't ready. And so again, I go back to, that's why General Barry established the J9 and our, which is our directorate, to ensure that we're working towards a readiness as a holistic term, not just ensuring our, and I'm a logistician, so I care about vehicles being ready, and he's infantry, so all he cares about is tanks being ready, not really. But, and he wouldn't have tanks because I have to give him the fuel of what tanks are. So we truly care about ensuring that our soldiers and our airmen are mentally fit as well as our family members. So one program that we started specifically in Nevada, it's gotten nationwide attention, and I should have brought a flyer, but I can send it to you to share because we would love to have you come to the class. Right now, it's called Purple Resolve. We're in the process of revamping the class. It's really the Nevada Guards resiliency program for our soldiers, our airmen. Veterans are welcome to come, and family members over 18. We would love to have you come. We'd love to get feedback, because as we're rewriting the program, we'd appreciate any feedback. But just to come and see what the class is about. And so Sergeant Major is actually one of our master trainers in that program. So I'm going to give him a little bit of time to talk about what that program's about and give his perspective as a senior NCO in our organization. Because really, I mean, the officers, we just kind of do what the warrant officers in this are. And so we just get to get up here and brag about the amazing things that our soldiers do. And so that's why I always bring Sergeant.
I'm gonna try to. Y'all, can everybody hear me? All right, this might drive me insane. I'm not.
Okay, there we go. It might be working. Okay. So if you have any, I mean, we have a little bit of time. If you have any specific questions for us, we're happy to answer them. If not, we don't know the answer, we can certainly get that to you. Yes, sir. We do. So we have our military family programs organization that falls under the J9. So through that organization, we have a couple of ways where we obviously can't take monetary donations as the Guard, but there are organizations that people can donate to. Then our family program specialists that are assigned to each unit. Once we've identified that that situation is happening, then they work with them to get them whatever they need. We've been able to get people apartments. We've been able to get them housing. I mean, we can get them everything from diapers to an apartment. Our family programs are amazing, but they wouldn't be that way without the support of our community, both North and South. We have amazing 501c3 organizations that we work with that help with those sort of situations. Yes. Good question. Yeah, that's a great question. I appreciate it because we over the past couple of years we've seen, because of the op tempo of our deployments, specifically like have specifically their organization, their training requirements, they're gone more than 2 weeks in the summer, 1 week in a month. So we have had soldiers that have had issues getting jobs. But what I can tell you is when you're getting one of our Nevada Guard soldiers as a member of your organization, we take very seriously the type of person that they are. So you're getting someone that truly is been a part of an organization that cares about them. They have leadership that care about them. They're dedicated. They already have a sense of community and a sense of purpose. So when they're coming to your organization, they already have those skill sets. I would say, obviously, if you're hiring them, but what sets them apart from everyone else is we've been and working through the J9 is they have a different heart set, a different mindset. So yes, they can come in and do their job, but they're also bringing in a different heart set, which is that community aspect and just that camaraderie that really is easy to bring, easy to just become a part of a team. So we have had, it's tapered off in the past couple of years, but there have been concerns, which is why we have our ESGR program, which is our employer support of Guard and Reserve, because we have had soldiers that have had, and we have our Work for Warriors program that to help our warriors and veterans and family members to get jobs, because that has been a stigma in the community. The op tempo of our deployments right now are going down. So I would definitely encourage you to hire a veteran, not necessarily the Nevada Guard, just the skill set that they bring to the table. I of course brag about the Nevada Guard, and we talk about this all the time when we've done deployments. Both of us, we go and you're integrated with active duty, and they instantly have you're the Guard, and I'm like, cool, yeah, we're the Guard. And then they're like, oh, wait a minute, you own a plumbing company? And wait a minute, you can work on cars? And wait a second, you did this? They don't realize the diversity that we bring in skill set. That's what we can bring to the table. We're not just a tanker or a logistician or a truck driver. It's the background diversity, the skill set and diversity, the diversity in our skill set that we bring to the organization or to your business.
So suicide is something that we take very seriously in the organization. We've had a few, and I always make this argument with folks I know, because they say, well, we'll never get to zero. And I'm like, well, we'll never stop trying to get to zero, right? And that's personally how we feel.
but we do our very best, and we have so many programs from our chaplains to our family support programs. We do we have a suicide panel, or not a panel. We have a prevention conference that we do in September, and it's a big conference. So we do try to harp on that all the time. And the best thing that we can do is put that information out to all of our soldiers and make sure that they have that. But not only that, the other thing that we do is, so my brother committed suicide. I always tell this story, right? My brother committed suicide. And the Army gave me all the tools. The Army gave me all the tools. For 10 years, I've been going to a suicide class. And I never really paid attention to that class because I wasn't going to commit suicide. That was my mindset. Like, I love life. I'm not committing suicide. And it wasn't until after my brother committed suicide and I was sitting in that class for my 10th year, and I got that information and it resonated with me. And I made the connection that, you know what, that information, it might not have been for me, but it was for someone else. And I had that training and I didn't use it and I sat on it. So one of the things that we really make it a point of doing is, like, just because we're doing these classes and we're doing this prevention stuff, we're also trying to make everyone else aware that, hey, you need to watch your buddy and you need to watch your friend. So I'm also not just trying to pour into you and giving you the tools, because you might not use them. And when your time comes, you might not get mobilized to pick up the phone and make those calls. But we want to make sure that the whole organization and that everybody around you is empowered to act, and they also have the information and they can also tell and realize the signs. And like I said, we try our very best to get to zero, and we harp on it all the time. And like I said, we have a big symposium coming up in September, and that's one of the things that we do. We hit the training all the time. So thank you.
So when we're in Nevada, our commander in chief is the governor. So when we are there for New Year's Eve mission, any floods, fires, anything that we do in the state, we are called by the governor to do that through the Department of Emergency Management. When we get called to do a mobilization overseas, that's what we call a Title 10 tour. We then essentially become an active duty soldier, and that's when we fall under the active duty title. So Department of Defense obviously is over all military branches. We fall then under what's called the National Guard Bureau, which falls into DOD, and then all of the states' guard organizations fall under the National Guard Bureau. But our day-to-day missions that we do within the state, we fall and take direction from our commander-in-chief, which is the government. Yeah.
In January, I was out at the Capitol. We had a 3-day warning, and that even goes back to like the hiring. We had a 3-day warning, like, hey, we need y'all in DC, and we mobilized 250 of our soldiers. And that even goes back to the mindset we were talking about. On Monday, they were civilians, and on Wednesday, we're getting on the plane and we're getting ready to head over to DC, not knowing what we're getting ready to walk into. And that's part of the mindset process, but then the same thing with the employers. So we've been grateful, or we've been blessed to have a lot of great employers in the community that understands that relationship about, like, hey, these are guard soldiers. And sometimes, yes, it's nice to have a month, 2-month, 3-month window before your soldier leaves and you know that they're leaving. But I literally gave my soldiers a 2-day warning, like, hey, we're getting ready to go. We got on the plane and we left, and they left their families, they left their employment, they left all of that stuff. So that's why we really do focus on the heart set mindset, and then our ESGR program, where we really try to bring the employers into the community, into the military community, so they can understand, like, what your soldier out there doing does serve a big purpose for the community, does serve a big purpose for the country as a whole. Thank you.
They do, actually. Yes, it is called the DC Guard. Yeah, they do have their own guard. There's not enough though in a situation like January 6th. I mean, multiple states were activated to that event. So, but they do have a decent guard in that. Right. Sure, we can talk to that. So I'm not a recruiter. I would not be a good recruiter. We have an amazing recruiting team. So interestingly enough, Nevada are meeting our goals in recruiting. This shockingly, because the news is saying different, but Nevada is meeting our Nevada Guard goals. For us, it's really about retention. So we do have massive recruiting efforts. Our recruiters are amazing. They are in the high schools. We've had great relationship with Clark County School District to allow the recruiters to go into the schools. We also have recently just Starbase, which is a program. I mean, they're still young yet; they're fifth graders, but it's Starbase is our STEM program that's through the Air Guard, that we have fifth graders from underprivileged schools get to come and do STEM school at one of our facilities. And then we have our Battleborn Youth Challenge, which is also located up in Harlan. But for recruiting for us, because of our command team in recruiting, because of the support that we have from our command team, because General Barry, does anyone in here know General Barry? Have you ever seen him speak? Okay, good. You'd be disappointed if you're because he's amazing. And so because of General Barry and how out into the community he is, we've had great success with recruiting. But for us, really what it's about is retention. So we can get these soldiers in, but it's about keeping them. So it's about bringing them in, and as Sergeant Major talks to all the time, and giving them the experience to want to stay, giving them a community. Like as you started talking, telling me about a little bit about the group, I wrote that down because that's what it's about. People just want to be a part of a community. And so that is part of our challenge, and that's part of what we do in taking care of them is the retention and keeping those soldiers and airmen in, because the skill set they bring, the background they bring, the families that support us, the retention piece is what's critical. And that's also what's critical with the employers too. Like you said, we're grateful to the employers that allow these soldiers to serve, because it is sometimes flooding in northern Nevada, you're getting called up in a week. So it is really a community effort, the Gardens. Yes. Yeah. So no, I was still in high school when I went to basic training. So in Montana, just right out and went to basic training and right off the street. That's a great question. I'll clarify that really quickly. We're getting close. I see that. So for the Nevada Guard, we have 4,400 soldiers and airmen in our organization. I don't know if I said that. So, but with that, only about 980 of us are full-time. So those like Sergeant Major and I that are full-time, that support the whole organization Monday through Friday. The remaining soldiers and airmen are what we call M-Day or DSDs. And so they're the ones that we talk about that work for you Monday through Friday. They're the ones that do the 1 week in a month, 2 weeks in the summer. Our full-time job is the Nevada Guard. So we're the full-time staff that support the organization. The rest are what are called M-Day. So that, thank you for bringing that up. So I can clarify that. Yes, sir.
So for me personally, and being the sergeant major on the ground, and what I truly believe in my heart and what I always heart, I don't really care what side of the spectrum anybody falls on. Probably no one in my organization can tell you my political affiliations but I truly feel like we are an apolitical organization. We're supposed to be an apolitical organization. So to that point, it really doesn't matter. So yeah, when we came out, I did brief my soldiers on what I just said to you, regardless where you fall, this is our job. This is who we are. It says United States Army. It doesn't say Democrat. It doesn't say Republican. It doesn't say Libertarian. It doesn't say Independent. This is who we are, and this is our job to do. So I reiterated that. I didn't think I needed to, but I did reiterate that just in case. But the beautiful part about the military as a whole is that we are apolitical, and then that's how we should treat it, and that's how we should act. I'm reminded, if you ever read General Mad Dog Maddox's book, he actually talks about that in his book and about his political affiliations and why he never even broadcast those. And he worked for a Democratic president and a Republican president because it didn't matter. His job was serving the American people. I see your hand. I don't know if we got the star. Yeah. So I'll take that real quick. So yes, the training is the exact same. You go to an active duty training post, and we do pretty much the same training. It's really, and then even on your weekend drills and your drills outside of that, you're doing the same training. So we have to uphold the same standards as our active duty counterparts in a lot less time. So it's very difficult and it's very challenging. And we ask a lot of our people. And so back to the employer part, like we ask a lot of our people, and we know that they can take a lot. And that goes even to what I was talking about with the resiliency piece and why it's so important for us to do that, because we're asking a lot out of them. Like I have individuals that they go to work, they get off work, they show up Saturday morning after working a late shift because they were waiting tables or something. They show up Saturday morning, we keep them all until Sunday night or Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. Then they got to turn around and go back to work, go home and be a dad or be a mom or whatever. So it's very challenging, and we ask a lot of our people. So that's why we really harp on the resiliency piece. And then, yeah, like, so kind of, I think your question was, if I sign up to be a tanker and now I want to go be a military police, after my contract is up, I can go do that. Is that what you're getting at? Yeah, so the same thing. You can reclass, you can get reclassified as something else and stay here in Nevada, or you can go, we have people to commute. So for me and my cab unit, I have individuals to come down from Arizona because they don't have tanks and Bradleys in Arizona. So they travel down here for drill. They could go to another unit up there in Arizona, but they love this unit, so they choose to commute down here. But yes. Does that answer your question? All right, cool, thank you.
I want to thank you both so much for being here today. Colonel Klima, I have a certificate for you. It's our Soul Power Award, and this represents a pair of shoes to a needy child in your name. And also, I have a copy of our Centennial book for you. So. Thank you so much. Thank you all for hanging in there today. Meeting adjourned.